everybody, welcome back to 539 Productions. So today I am on the hunt for an abandoned church, and it's something that I've been doing a lot recently. I've noticed this really strange trend. There's these churches marked on the map and they are all in wooded areas. But every time I go to check out one of these places, there's absolutely nothing there. However, this one today is a little bit different because I was actually able to see from the maps a cemetery, which is there for sure, but it's actually marked as a chapel. So I don't know if there's going to be a building here. I don't know if it's just going to be a graveyard, or if there's going to be a lot of things there. The trees are way too thick to see through, so it's hard to tell from the air other than the open spaces which are around the graveyard. So it's pretty much a mystery to me at this point what we're gonna find when we get here. Definitely found the place. The road is incredibly muddy from the recent rains, but there's a little place to park back here. So I'm just going to back it up, park off the side of the road, and then walk the rest of the way to this site. So here's what I was afraid of right up here. Looking really muddy. There are some areas that appear to be paved, but I wasn't really ready to blast on down this road and get stuck in one of these areas and then have to wait hours on a tow truck to arrive and get me out of here. Definitely, it looks like a house up here, so there might be somebody that lives up here as well, but the cemetery is marked as public, so there shouldn't be any problem with me walking on through. It could definitely just be for storage, but just kind of has that look like sort of like an expensive cedar siding that would be associated more with somebody's house. So you can see we've entered into this little clearing after coming out of the woods at this spot right here. So I don't know, maybe if nobody is at home, since it definitely looks like a public place back here, might check out that building just to make sure it's not a church. We'll have to sort of approach carefully and see if it's actually a house, or maybe if it potentially actually is a church. I didn't really check for the electricity. Actually, before I go too far, I want to check out this here. First marker I'm seeing is from the early 1900s. Definitely a little bit of decay coming up. Nothing too bad, a lot of growth. I think that's Judith. Looks like that's mid-1800s there. And as I'm glancing through the trees, I'm not seeing any evidence of other buildings. So if that building up front is a house, then I would say that there definitely is not an abandoned church here. However, again, it was marked as a chapel and not as a cemetery on the map. So that's what confuses me just a little bit about what exactly we've stumbled upon. We have this one little lone marker. And it has the same reddish coloring, which I think somebody had given me an explanation for, but I can't remember it offhand. There's some small chunks here and there along the tree line. Looks like something up ahead. Probably a very decayed old headstone. It might be a section of tree too. Now these are actually, wow, 2 old vaults here. Wow. Barely even noticed them over here except for this little piece sticking up here, which would have probably held their names and dates on. Looks like the DNR have come out and put a boundary line over here to mark the edge of this location. And here we have a U.S. veteran. Once again, you can see there's no date on this particular headstone, and I'm guessing it was supplied by the military. There's a few different places around here where there's little hills, and I'm thinking it's areas that there might be vaults underneath that have had the headstones decay away and disappear, or were like the previous 2 vaults that I just found, but were unfortunately buried over the years. And this is another veteran here. And really the only thing you can tell from those stones is that they probably fought in an early war sometime during the 1800s, most likely between the Civil War and the Spanish-American War. I don't think I've ever seen any use of that style for either of the world wars. There's a little lizard over here. Disappeared underneath that little crack there. A really bright blue tail, and it's a lizard that's native to, I believe, most of the part of the United States. I've seen them in Kentucky as well, but he's disappeared underneath the headstone there. So over here are a couple more vaults that we can see. I'm not sure whether this one's missing a section or whether it's just a child's grave. Let's see here. Yeah, 1-day-old baby. So they made a vault which would better fit its size. And directly behind it is unfortunately a base stone that has completely, oh no, it actually either has been re-engraved or it was just a homemade headstone. This is definitely a cement or concrete structure that has been written in by hand. And following the boundary line that the DNR has set up, it's beginning to go behind this brush here. And I'm not seeing any headstones right off the bat, but I am seeing this here, which has been obviously avoided by any people coming here to do landscaping. And it looks like it itself would have been, well, maybe not. It looked like there was actually some landscaping structures, some decorative structures here, but it looks like it's just an old tree, which the limbs have been piled over here, sort of like just a trash area or debris pile. And there's another boundary line right over there. And there's no sign of any type of structure over this way that would be a church. We're pretty far from what's remaining of the headstones over this way. Again, not seeing anything sticking out on the side, much like we saw on the other end over here. But there's no property line this way, which is kind of strange. It's a gigantic spider web, so I need to be careful. But there's definitely not any graves down this way. But it kind of has that feeling, the way the trees are growing, almost like there was a pathway going this way at one time and has been now covered up. I hear some water running, so it might have led down to like a creek or something so that they could get water, or it might have one time been another entrance to this place. If it's a big enough river or a creek, it could have been the way a lot of people got here by boat, which might have been easier at the time that it opened than taking horse and carriage. Seeing lots and lots of mid-1800s here, actually pretty old, and it looks like the first one I stumbled on was actually one of the newer markers here. This one too is a little bit newer, with the death here at 1897. Unlike a lot in the row, which seemed to be during the 50s. There's tons of little insects on this headstone. I don't know why exactly. They seem to have scattered as soon as I came close. That was really strange. I've never seen that many on a single stone before like that. The same thing right over here on this headstone too. I've noticed a few interesting ones at the front here that I walked by as I first entered. This is another newer one right here. at least in age-wise. It looks like they were actually, as you can see, a veteran of the Civil War. And this has actually been a lot of movement. I don't know if this is the original placement or not, because we've got another stone right here that could have been there originally, and then this is placed here, but it looks like there is a base below here. I'm not sure on this. Definitely no writing, but it has to be a gravestone just by its placement and shape, obviously. And it kind of just looks like it's so worn that you can't see any of the writing anymore. This is the grave of Eliza. I'm trying to see what the date is. It's really hard to read. I wanted to show you this here too. You can see that somebody has at one time restored the grave and stuck it back together, but it once again has fallen and maybe needs a little bit better of product to be used on it. I don't know how long ago the restoration work would have been done, but it may just have been an inferior product that didn't last very long. Probably around the same time this one here would have been repaired as well. You can see a gigantic crack going right here, and then another one right up here, and they've been fused together. And for this one, it actually has worked very well and held together amazingly. I don't know if it was the exact same mixture that was used to fuse the other one together, or maybe if it was a better mixture. The color definitely is slightly different, making me think it might have been a completely different formula, and maybe even a completely different date for the restoration. Sometimes it's a public project that happens where people come in here and repair these headstones, and then sometimes it's done by the actual family members who come back and make sure that their relatives' graves are still in good condition, which is a really nice thing to do. And again, right down the row from it is this one here, which has also broken several times. However, it looks like they're using like a metal rebar going down through it to hold this one together. It doesn't appear to have anything fusing it like a mortar, although it may, and I might not be able to see it anymore, or it's worn away. This one used to have, it looks like a few trees or large bushes behind it that have been taken out at some time. And then all the way on the other side here, which appears to all be together just because of the way that the landscaping has been done, but I can't really tell 100%. That there is this marker here, which may have been a child, and this may have been the parents' grave here. A lot of damage down this row. This one has been repaired and is now falling apart again. That one may have been repaired there. I can't really tell on it. And then this looks like it is sort of like the baby carriage or cradle design, but now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer, I think it is just a marker around where the grave would have laid, or the actual casket would have been, I mean. Well, it looks like we've gotten most of the graves that I wanted to hit up on this episode. I'm now going to carefully walk back towards the church or whatever it may be and try and see if it is indeed a church, like it's marked, or if it's just somebody's house. However, I didn't see a mailbox either, so I don't really know exactly. There's some loud squirrels. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It might be an old church. I really hope I'm not walking up on somebody's house. I don't know what it is. Huh. This is strange. There's little fuel tanks here for like camping, it looks like. And that looks like it held bullets. There's definitely, you can see right there, there's some bullet holes in this here. I don't know if someone's just been squatting here or what exactly this is. I didn't see any of the DNR signs here. It's definitely just an empty building. Might be being restored to be a church. That one's confusing. I'm not sure exactly what that is. So I would think if it was going to be somebody's private house, they would put the markings onto the side of the property like you saw back at the graveyard. And again, it is marked on the map as a chapel, so maybe that's what they're doing out here. They're building a new chapel for a really old graveyard for some of the local residents to come and visit. But if you've got any other ideas, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, that concludes this episode of 539 Productions. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next adventure. Don't forget to follow me over on the other social media accounts such as Instagram, Facebook, and also Twitter, and follow along on the daily adventure over there. Thank you all so much. Bye.